I'm a perfectionist, and that's why I'm still where I am. I want something to last 100 years, and hopefully it will. I first became interested in violin making after meeting a violin maker at the Sydney Woodworking Show. At that time I'd just been in the military for 6 years, and I was looking for a different path in life, and sometimes it's not until you try something that you actually realise what you want. I felt within me that I had a creative side that I wanted to discover. When I'm building, I'm really building something that is my child, really, in a sense. It has a soul, and I want it to be the best that it can be. It's very important to me to be connected to my work. That's one of the great pleasures in life, is to finally have found work that you enjoy and that is rewarding. One of the things I enjoy most about violin making is that it is so difficult. There's a tremendous amount of time involved, certainly maybe more than my lifetime, and I find that quite satisfying in one day, that I'll be challenged essentially until I stop building instruments. I was at the National Folk Festival in Canberra, and I saw a Hardanger fiddle, and I thought, what is that? It's a violin essentially in its outline, but it has many differences. The main one being that it has sympathetic strings, which resonate when the top ones are being played. Also that instead of the scroll on the end of the violin, the Norwegians have a lion's head carved on there, and they're also very highly decorated. Being completely built from Tasmanian timbers, I thought it was fitting that I should use a Tasmanian animal as the head of my instrument, and the black heart sassafras I think is well suited to the Tasmanian devil head. One of the sweetest moments in instrument making is putting your bow on the strings for the very first time, and to finally hear something speak to you is sort of like having a baby in your arms for the first time. There's a connection and a communication channel that's been opened up, and that then leaves you with a relationship to then work on. There's a very long tradition of building fine instruments in Europe, and it's something that we don't have that history and that long heritage to draw on. And being over in Europe with the great masters, studying along beside them and having the opportunity to question them as they work, gives such a great insight into what we need to do to be building great instruments. I was awarded a Churchill Fellowship to travel to Europe to work with the great instrument makers. And without their help, I wouldn't have been able to produce the work I do today. There is no comparison to being in person with someone to show you how techniques are performed and how to approach the building of a great instrument. And there's absolutely no way that we can work out how these instruments were built unless we have them in person and we have the opportunity to spend time studying them and taking in every last detail of how they were built. It's amazing the doors that open once people realise that you are a Churchill Fellow. Australia is very young, so to be given the opportunity to travel to an old world and study with the great masters, to then fulfill our understanding and our knowledge base, to bring that back home and implement it in our work, is really, to me, the essence of what the Churchill Fellowship is all about.